for what are now described as giving away tactical fouls. Freeze way out from the opposition goal, which just slowed down the play as MacDonald looks for the first point, and he's got it. What a start for Stevie MacDonald, the Armagh captain. Armagh, the Division 2 National Football League champions. Big win over Derry a few weeks ago. Here's Stevie MacDonald, he's got their first. Now he's got their second. That's absolutely brilliant. Super point from Stevie MacDonald. 2 attacks for him, 2 scores, and Armagh go in front again. You think back to the first 5 or 6 minutes, they'd plenty of the ball, but only 1 point, and that was from a free from Paul Finlay. Now maybe Hanratty is a free man inside. It's Tommy Freeman. Freeman for Monaghan. Goal! All week they've been talking about the threat posed by Conor McManus, that it takes the pressure off Freeman, but Freeman thrives in the pressure. Here it is again.
But what a ball that time through. I think it was by Gary McQuaid. A beautiful dink ball. Great awareness by Kieran Hanratty. And again, calmness and precision personified by Freeman. And he does what he's brilliant at, getting goals.
It's now Paul Duffy. Both wing backs for Armagh, very comfortable in these sort of areas. Duffy ran into trouble. Here's MacDonald. Speaking of comfortable in those areas, and it's 4 points now for Stevie MacDonald. Another really fine score. Blocked down, well blocked down by Gareth Swift, but Walsh still has it for Monaghan. Rory Wood's going to come in next time we have a break in play. Tommy Freeman, the Monaghan goal scorer, in after it. Brilliant, he's beaten Andy Mallon. Freeman on the left boot. Over the bar. Great point from Tommy Freeman. Level for the 4th time. Clerkin for Monaghan. Paul Finlay. Finlay sees a gap and goes, and he's got a right boot. We know the left foot is very cultured, but the right one very effective when he needs it. And Monaghan attacking in waves. Dick Clerkin puts real effort into that as he looks for Tommy Freeman. Andy Mallon is taking it out though. Mallon claiming he was helped out over the line.
Well, the grim predictions we had about the way Monaghan or the way Armagh were going to play with this ultra defensive blanket and all of that, it just hasn't happened. But it's down to the very positive approach by both teams.
Better angle for Tommy Freeman, and he likes that, Tommy Freeman, and why not? Because the white flag goes up. It's been a super game of football, very entertaining, more entertaining, albeit if you're a Monaghan supporter watching or here today in Belfast. The angle was prohibitive for Conor McManus from the sideline. Got it into a better position, and Tommy Freeman did the rest. Vinnie Corey of Monaghan. Freeman. Rory Woods. Side-to-side charge. Not so sure. Brian Mallon involved. Have a look. On Rory Woods, that was
a very high tackle, a very hard tackle. Now, it was a very hard tackle. Oh, he got him straight. He got him straight.
The elbow, isn't it?
With the elbow, I think so. I don't think, in fairness, coming in, he meant it.
Brian Mallon, a straight red card. He's gone. Armagh down to 14 players, just as they were last year when MacDonald was sent off in the qualifier. Rory Woods is very shaken up, and it was that elbow up towards the head of Rory Woods which the referee saw, and a straight red, and Brian Mallon is gone. Armagh down to 14.
Yeah, we saw upsets aplenty on the programme here last night in the West and in Leinster. Are we in for more of the same up at Casement Park? Colin O'Rourke.
Yeah, well, the first thing I would have to say, it's been a far more enjoyable game than I had anticipated, and much more attacking and free-flowing football, particularly by Monaghan, who really dominated the last 20 minutes of the half. And obviously they have a plan. They decided that if Armagh going to set up with all of their forwards being double-teamed almost, that they were going to attack from the back, and Gary McQuaid and Damien Freeman have moved forward at will, and Vinnie Corey, yes, and the midfielders, so that, you know, they have backed up their forward line. They've been very impressive. They've got great scores from play. Tommy Freeman, Paul Finlay has been great, Conor McManus has been great, and apart from Stevie MacDonald, Armagh have looked a bit out of sorts.
The funny thing about it is, before the match we heard all this kind of stuff. The goalkeeper not playing, the sub-goalie obviously has left the panel late in the day, and we said, gee, they could be in disarray.
Yeah, well,
they're not in disarray at half-time.
No, Monaghan are on the road a long time and they're firmly focused on winning an Ulster title. It's really, really a big thing for them, and I don't think a minor thing like a goalkeeper walking off would distract them in any shape or form. OK,
we're going to take a short. The one in Navan could Sligo on the one hand, Louth on the other hand, keep going. They did keep going. Can Monaghan keep going now that they have the lead?
I think they can, especially when they have an extra man. But can I say, you know, when you look at the statistics there, you said 6 yellow cards, 1 red card, you'd say, typical Ulster football, bloodbath, it's defensive-minded, it's negative. And it's actually far from it. It's been quite, you know, the two teams haven't been that defensive-minded. The football has been quite good at times. You'd pay the admission fee alone to watch Stevie McDonald and Thomas Freeman, two class forwards. I've enjoyed the game, but the only thing what you've seen is a bit what you saw again last night, that sometimes you wonder, with all those yellow and red cards and the amount of frees, that we're trying to get rid of the physicality out of the game of Gaelic football, because that was a good sporting contest, and certainly 6 yellow cards is not reflective.
And I suppose the irony of it was that Monaghan had most of those yellow cards, and it was an Armagh player that got sent off.
It was, yeah. Like I said, you know, Monaghan were in disarray at the start, and they carried the ball for the first 10 minutes into the Armagh attack. They left Stevie McDonald loose, and then after a while, I mean, we're talking about this sweeper system for the last couple of weeks. Basically, with the sweeper system is very effective if you park a fella on the other end. But now what's happening is that Monaghan are bringing up extra men. They're making the sweeper having to pick up guys. They're moving the ball at pace. They're varying the attack, and they have Armagh in 6s and 7s.
The one thing, Joe Brolly, that Monaghan did do wrong in that first half which was fairly obvious. Keep Steve McDonald off the ball, and they didn't do that, and he made hay.
Well, you say that's the imperative. You know, you're playing Armagh. I mean, Stephen McDonald is their player. You know, they don't really have anybody else of sufficient sort of his calibre or maturity, and yet, I mean, they just let him play. I mean, the first point was excellent. Look, that's only the best forwards can take a point like that. But thereafter, you know, it was just pure slackness on Monaghan's part and dropping off him. I mean, that's just not good enough against Stephen McDonald. You know, once you're letting him get the ball 3-4 yards in front of you, and if anything, then the ties loosened up. I mean, he got even more room as the game wore on. And I mean, it's only Monaghan's dominance in the middle of the field in the latter part of the first half that has prevented him from doing even more damage. But I think Pat's point is absolutely right. You know, Martin Sludden's refereeing the game, and I mean, when you look at, you know, Derek Fahey, Martin Sludden, Michael Duffy last night, I mean, it's like a loyalist pipe band coming through the place. You know, I mean, the crowd booed him off at half-time, and he thoroughly deserved to be booed off at half-time, and there's no point in saying, oh, well, look, the referees do a difficult job and all that. Like, we know all that stuff. The players have a difficult job as well. I mean, the only people who have an easy job, I think, is us. But the truth is, I mean, the refereeing has been atrocious today. Atrocious. And I mean, it's now infuriated the crowd. It's been an excellent game of football. Let them play. Why he's not letting them play, I don't know.
Rules and regulations that are difficult to deal with.
Yeah, but what a referee has to have is a bit of cop on. And, you know, every good referee is able to determine the sort of temperature of a game and referee accordingly. And this was a game which, you know, there was plenty of hard challenges. The ground is slippy, but there was no niggly stuff going on at all. Now, Monaghan have ended up with, what, 6 yellows? 6 yellows. They've taken off 2. They can't afford to take off everybody who's on a yellow card. But if my memory is correct, I think Martin Sludden sent off Finian Moriarty from Armagh in the league match against Down when they were really annoyed over something simple. And to me, in this case, what Brian Mallon did was he tried to line up Rory Woods for a good shoulder, because Woods had been given a hospital pass and it was maybe slightly mistimed, but there was no malice in it at all. I think it's very, very harsh, and of course it has changed the whole nature of the game completely.
Here it is, Pat.
Well, you know, I'd feel a little bit of sympathy for him in this instance. You know,
there's nothing to it.
Well, to me it looks, the elbow's up, he connects with the guy's head. The referee has a
bowled over. What can he do?
The referee has a split-second decision to make. I would say he got it right. Okay, you can go down the road of intent. Did he mean it or anything like that? And we can't go down that road. What the referee saw is a high elbow into the guy's head. In any rules, lads, that's a red card.
Before you saw that in slow motion, you said that's never a red card. That's what you said. Now you look at it in slow motion and you parse it and you say, well, you know, maybe there was some contact with the head. But the reality is there was nothing to it. It was a split-second thing. No. He didn't come in with his elbow up. He's a much smaller man than Woods. He was trying to get up to his shoulder. There was nothing to it.
But the referee can't just stop the game and take a vote.
Second half underway here at Casement Park. Beautiful afternoon now. Monaghan with the advantage of the extra man and with the wind at their backs in the second half. Armagh have made 2 changes. James Lavery, who carried an injury into this match, is on, and so is Kevin Dias, I beg your pardon. Dias wearing number 20, Lavery wearing 25 as Monaghan look to get the first score of the second half, and they've got it from Tommy Freeman, and that is the perfect start for them. Breaks down for Colin Walsh. He's had a fine debut in Championship football for Monaghan, and Walsh is coming forward, gets it from McManus. Colin Walsh lets it off to Kieran Hanratty, and Hanratty slots that over 3 in a row, and he punches the air in delight. 110 to 6 points, Monaghan lead. Duffy going forward, Charlie Vernon, Lavery, Toner in, it is Duffy, he's got a free man, McDonald there, and a good save by Darren Hughes. The ball goes over the bar for the point, but it's Paul Duffy's point.
Yeah, lovely bit of interchange of hand passing that time, but the speed that Duffy took the pass at got him past the defenders, and a very good save by Darren Hughes. I think that's the first thing he's had to do all day by way of saving.
Colin Walsh taking the chance and going forward. Damien Freeman, Walsh forced backwards. McElroy shoots. They're back in the groove again. They've got over that sticky period. 113 to 8 points. Hard to see a way back for 14-man Armagh now. The Armagh supporters, some of them have seen enough and decided to get out onto the M1 and try and head for home. Conor McManus. Kieran McKeever just left for dead by Conor McManus. Dick Clerkin is raiding forward. Open road in front of him, but McManus held up by Brendan Donaghy. Damien Freeman. Lovely point. Really good score from Damien Freeman. Delighted with his decision he is to rejoin the panel. He opted off it with Gary McQuaid during the league.
Well, it's exhibition time from a Monaghan point of view at the moment, but it's really depressing from Armagh's situation. The sending off, I think, was critical.
McCardle, Clerkin, shoot on sight. There's that crowd reaction again, and there's the white flag. Must be all his family behind him.
Great workhorse, great provider for others. Seldom you see him though on the scoreboard. It's a great score.
McElroy, Dick Clerkin wants to fire it across again, or he wants to have a go, Clerkin, and do you know what, that is an absolute peach. Oh, he celebrates as if he just got an all-star. Both hands up in the air. That's a wonderful point. I know there's no pressure on him, but you know what, he still had to stick it over, and that is some way to end the day for Dick Clerkin and Monaghan. A corker, but there's the whistle. It's all over. Just a minute over that of time added on by the
Gentlemen, here in the studio, the one thing that I couldn't have imagined this weekend, whatever about Sligo beating Mayo and Louth beating Kildare, is Monaghan not just beating Armagh, but turning it into an exhibition in the end.
A humiliation probably would be a better way of saying it, but you know,
I used another phrase here a moment ago that I won't use on the air, but they really swung them around.
They did, yeah, but when you look at it, and if you were looking at the games for this weekend, you would say that the chance of the lowest scoring game of the weekend in Championship football was likely to be this one between Monaghan and Armagh. Instead of that, Monaghan have put on an exhibition of scoring, which they usually don't do. Like, they normally try to get 112 or 113 and hold the opposition to less. So it's a refreshing turn of events for Monaghan. They were much more adventurous from the very beginning, and they have adopted a different style because they obviously studied what Armagh and other teams are doing and decided that the best way around the defensive screen was to push up their backs and make them into forwards. And Damien Freeman, Gary McQuaid and Vincent Corey really turned the game in Monaghan's favour in the second part of the first half by pushing forward at will, and they weren't tracked by the Armagh players, and it, you know, that turned it into a rout, as well as the sending off, which was also central to the game.
Some interesting teams in the qualifiers now, Pat, already in the season.
There is indeed. I mean, you've Derry, you've Donegal, Mayo, Kerry-a-Cock after today, Dublin and Meath being that one of those teams. It was a great performance by Monaghan, but you know, like, and I'm delighted for Monaghan because they played positively, they played some great attacking football. 5 of their starting forwards scored from play, and when Stevie McDonald was held in check, well, then Armagh had no other plan. But I mean, you look at Armagh down through the years, really, they are thereabouts one of the best teams down through the years, but they had only one All-Ireland to show for them. You would say, well, why had they only one All-Ireland? because their system was based on safety first, 2 negative, picking a half-forward line as defenders and playing